Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to welcome you as part of our community tonight. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and distributed live stream. By entering this virtual meeting room, you give your consent to be recorded and distributed by Vienna Live with Simeon Morrow and other third parties. If you prefer to not be recorded, please go to the LinkedIn Live video feed, the link to which I've just placed in the chat room. Tonight, our featured guest is Dr. Julio Mendívil, Chair of Ethnomusicology at the University of Vienna. Professor Mendívil recently traveled to the northern Peruvian region of Cajamarca to learn about the region's music. What he found in Cajamarca will be the subject of tonight's conversation. Professor Mendívil, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morrow, for inviting me for this show. I am very pleased to be here and share with you some experience in Peru.
Professor Mendívil, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and how you ended up in Cajamarca, Peru.
So I come from Peru. I grew up in Peru many years ago, and I went to Germany in the 90s in order to study ethnomusicology. Ethnomusicology is a discipline in which we try to study music as culture. It means we tried to study music not as kind of art music, but as a social phenomenon. And my regional focus in ethnomusicology is the music from the Andes, from the Peruvian Andes. And for this reason, I worked for many years on traditional music from South Peru, above all on music from Ayacucho. And in the last years, I changed my regional focus in Peru and began to work on traditional music in northern Peru, because the southern traditions have, or I would say, there is a long tradition in studying music from South Peru, but the musical genres and the musical tradition from the northern regions in Peru were not really a topic in ethnomusicology, and I began to work on this kind of music, which was unattended in ethnomusicology.
Okay, and so just so that we get an idea about Peru, so the southern part, is that where most people, if they travel, they go there? It's the northern part, it's less inhabited, or why is it that the music is less well known?
Not really. I would say that the reason why the Peruvian musicology made a focus on the southern musical tradition was that the founder of the music studies in Peru came from this region, and he worked on the own traditions and so forth. And for this reason, he, I would say, he conducted a kind of studies concerning the music tradition he knew. And for this reason, we began to reproduce what Jose Maria Arguedas, this scholar, did. But Peru is a very big country with different regions. We have coast, and we have also the Amazonas region with very different musical traditions. And in the northern region of the country, there is a lot of musical traditions which are very important too and very popular, but they weren't topic for the music research in the country.
Okay. So, Professor Mendívil, tell us what you found. What do you find when you arrive at Cajamarca? Tell us about this festival of the Chunchos.
Yeah, maybe you can show my presentation, please. Um, the first thing I want to say is that Cajamarca is a very important place in Peru concerning the history of the country, because if you show the next slide, um, here in this region in northern Peru, we can say that the fall of the Inca Empire took place in this region in Cajamarca. It was in Cajamarca where the last Inca was arrested by Spaniards, and for this reason, Cajamarca is really a very important place in our history, you know. And musically speaking, I would say that Cajamarca is also a very strong place with many musical traditions, and for this reason, I became interested in the study of this tradition because they are not traditional topic of the musicology, ethnomusicology in Peru. Yeah, and I work in Cajamarca. So the department is called Cajamarca, but the city too. And I work in a region from Cajamarca, which is called Baños del Inca, and in the district of Otusco. I were there visiting a very popular festival, which is related to the Mother Mary. It's a Christian tradition, and there is a lot of dances there in order to honor the Virgin Mary. And this is interesting because I focus on the dance of the chunchos. And this is a very important tradition. It is also cultural heritage in Peru. As indigenous tradition in which we can see how some indigenous traditions are mixed with some Spanish traditions or Catholic traditions, and also with the modernity. So we can see the next slide, maybe. There is not a lot of information about this dance. So it's called the Danza de los Chunchos. And you can see the three articles which exist about these traditions from 1953, 1993, and 2014. And there is a declaration of this dance as cultural, immaterial cultural heritage. And that's what was interesting for me to research about this tradition, which is which was not really topic in our musicology. Can you just, show the next, please? And I was there with a group of students of mine. We were last year there. I went with 10 students and a colleague, and we tried to make some interviews, and we made some interviews and film a lot of moments of the festival, above all the procession for the Virgin Mary, in which the chunchos dance in honor of Mary. You know, the next, please. And the Virgin Mary is the patron saint of Baños del Inca, and for this reason, there is a lot of activities in order to honor Mary, and the dance is organized in a very hierarchical way. There are many characters which everyone has position, which we can compare according to the terms you see, are all terms which come from the military. For example, mayordomo, or alguacil, alferez are all terms which comes from military traditions, and the dancers are organized in a kind of line, and every dancer has a number, and there are some captains which have more to say or decide some steps they do and so forth. And all this dance is a kind of military representation, and it's interesting because it has to do with the figures of the dance. We can see the next slide, please. So the first ones are the chunchos. And who are the chunchos? This word chunchos means people from the Amazonas region. And as you know, the Amazonas region was not conquered or colonized by the Inca Empire. And in this dance, you can see here in this slide some representations of people from the Amazonas region, and there are some characteristics which you can find in the dancers today, is in the current dance, and interesting also to say that in this dance, what is be represented is the conversion of indigenous to Christianity. They dance at the beginning as wild people, according to the tradition, and the last day they are converted into the Christian tradition. This is the scene, the sense of the dance, what we can see represented. But there are other persons which are very important in this dance. We can see the next slide are the musicians. So we have a group of dancers, and we have also the musicians. The cajero is a man who play flute and played frame drum at the same time. And as you can see in the picture on the right side, this is a Spaniard tradition. And this is interesting because there are indigenous people which are reproducing a tradition which came to America with the Spaniards, And the other instrument which you can find in this dance is the clarín. We can see the next slide, please. Also, this is also an evidence, some representation from the flute. This flute which is used in the dance in the Spaniard tradition. We can see the next one. And this is the other instrument we have here. This is clarín. This is a trumpet, a natural trumpet. On the right side, you can see a representation from 1800, and on the left, you can see a current representation. And this trumpet is around 4 meters large. It's really large, and the sound of this trumpet is also very strong. Is a kind of I would say it's very loud. It's very loud, and due to the fact that it is a natural trumpet, you can also produce three sounds, and for this reason, the melodies they play are always tritonic. And this is very interesting, and because the the flute players play a pentatonic melody, which is very characteristic for the Andes, and the clarineros try to repeat the same motifs of the melody, but they reduce the melody to three tonic scales, and they play parallel to at the same time when the flute players are playing the melody, the clarineros begin to play too, and it's very difficult to perceive what is playing, what are playing the flauteros, the flute players, because the clarines, the trumpets are too loud, and this is really interesting because for our understanding of music, when we play together, we try to get some harmony, to get some uh, so a kind of affinity, but in this case, they play for every group play for themselves in a way, and so they don't take care what are playing the others. They play only a melody, independent of what are the other musicians playing. And this is really interesting. I think we can listen to the music in the next slide, and you can see how it changes when the clarineros begin to play.
Professor, I'm sorry that we don't have a video right now at this moment. Would you like me to play it, one of the other videos?
No, you can. Oh, you cannot play this one.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
interesting. Oh, I think it is a video. What I'm saying, or not?
This one is just a slide.
Just a slide. Oh my God, I don't know why. Oh, sorry, I'm very sorry, because it is a video in which you can see that the flute players begin to play, and you can notice the pentatonic melody, and then the clarineros begin to play, and you can hear it anymore. What the flute players are playing. You can also play. You can also listen to or hear the clarines. Okay, well, we can listen to the music in another moment. Um, um, you can see here some persons which are very important. So the chunchos are these dancers which are wearing white colors, and the other ones, and the chunchos negros. The chunchos are, as I said, are representing people from Amazonas, and the chunchos negros are also people from Amazonas, but they are also related to the black slave in the colonial time. And for this reason, they are, in this tradition, they are seen as the wild people from the wild people, in order to say something like that, and interesting is that the chunchos negros try to dance and to make some transgressions, which are very important. They can behave in a very different way as normally people from the Andes do, and they try to be funny, but also they try to be transgressors according to some social rules. And this is a very important moment in the dance, that they go to the people and try to spoil the people, causing some conflicts sometimes. And there are some groups of dancers. The first one is the chunchos, which chunchos blancos and chunchos negros, and the next one is the payas. We can see the next slide. The payas are the women you see it here in the photo on the left side. This group of women with some traditional clothes, from the Andes. And a very interesting group in this dance is also the so-called Incaicos. They represented the Incas. And it's interesting that during the dance of the Incaicos, there is a representation of the Inca dead, as they represent how the Inca was killed. One of the Incaicos, of the dancers, fight against the Inca, and kill him. But when the Inca is killed, the Incaico regret the fact, and try to call the Inca to live again, and this is very interesting that the Inca woke up, came back from the death, and come again to the dance. And there are these three characters which are very important for the dance: the chunchos, the payas, which represented the servers of the Inca, and the Incaicos, which represented the Incas. The Incas as an ethnic group, I would say. And this is a little bit confusing for us Peruvians, because the Incaicos, which are wearing some typical clothes of the Incas, killed the Inca, and this is interesting that they kill him with a sword, also with a Spanish weapon, so to say, So we can see the next. Yeah, again, yes. This is the structure of the dance. It's a dance in which you can find a lot of indigenous elements. For example, some of the instruments, but you can also see a lot of European elements, like the flutes or the frame drum, for example, and all the lyrics they sing during the dance are in Spanish and are Catholic, so hymns for Jesus or for the Virgin Mary. And now this is really interesting, because this is as you can see, this is the yeah. So very important to remark that the killed Inca raise of the dead and come back in order to dance again with the Incaicos, which is really strange as a structure for the dance, Yeah, and we are trying to. I was there with this group of students of mine, and we are trying to write some articles about this dance and the meaning of this dance, because there are so different elements, which is very difficult to explain what is happening in this tradition, and how so different elements come together in a dance in order to honor the Virgin Mary. Yeah.
Professor Mendívil, can I ask? So, what exactly were we seeing at that time? That was we saw the servant people, and we saw also the Incaicos, but we didn't see the Virgin Mary. She was somewhere ahead, or where
You can see
exactly were we in that?
you can see the Virgin Mary in one of the photos. She's it's a procession, and the chunchos are charging the Virgin Mary, and they dance for her during the musicians are playing for the dancers, you know. And there is three group of dancers: the chunchos, the payas, and the encaicos. This year, no, last year, the group, the payas group was not there, but there were some payas dancing with the chunchos in a group. This is not the normally this is not the case. The payas built group, a different group, but in last years they were part of the chunchos, and we can see these three groups in the other videos you have. For example, there is a videos with the payas, and you can see the payas alone. The payas are these women we are dancing for the Inca, and this payas, the word payas means maiden, and they are so to say the maiden of the Inca, and dancing for him. We can see the video. These are the chunchos. This small group of women are the payas. They're dancing as part of the group, the chunchos. And you can see here is the both procession with the Virgin Mary. They are the payas. This is Jesus, and you can see also the Virgin Mary in the other.
Wow, extraordinary.
And interesting also to say that the dancers, the chunchos, they have a competition during the dance. They have to make some trabajos. Trabajos means for them competition, and they have some steps which are difficult, and they have to compete with each other.
And just Professor Mendívil, can you tell us what does it mean when the chunchos they get down on one knee and they're turning around? That seemed to be a prominent part
This
of
is
the
a kind
dance.
of trabajo. These are special steps they have for the dance. In At the second day of the festival, the dancers have to compete with each other, and they have they have different steps with different grades of difficulty. And one of these is this dancing in knee, when they try to dance in this way, or for example, sometimes they try to drink from a bottle only with the mouth, don't using the hands. So this kind of unusual step for a dance, and the sense of that is that they are competing for abilities, you know.
And Professor Mendívil, now this brings us to our second big topic. You were raised in the Lima metropolis, listening to European classical music and progressive rock. Since then, you have spent your career living in large German-speaking cities. What is the musical and cultural significance of what we just witnessed at Cajamarca? How can we, who share your musical and cultural perspectives, appreciate it?
I would say that there are many aspects in this dance which are very interesting. One of them is that there is mosaic of cultural elements from different parts of the world. It's a mixture of different traditions and with very different religious components. For example, there is a lot, if you, I don't know if you notice, but so for example, they have some stars or some songs in the dress head they use. Yeah, they have some symbolic from the Andes in the dress hat they use, and also in the connection with the music. For example, that the flutes play pentatonic melodies, which are very I would say very melodic lines, you know. And on the other side, the clarineros are playing in a very hard way, uh, disturbing in a way the music of the others. And I was thinking about it. What is the meaning of that? Because they try to complement each other, but not playing together, but playing against the other. You know, this is a completely different conception of doing music. And I think this is also very interesting for us as musicologists to find a explanation why they used to play in this way, which is really different, you know. And the other thing is that we can also extend our understanding about what is music when we see such traditions in which music is very strong related to dance and to other activities also, because this is are 3 days of activities related to this dance and to this tradition. They sing a lot of hymns for Virgin Mary. in Spanish and speaking about the heaven, or speaking about life after that, and so there's a lot of very interesting components in this dance which we can analyze and try to interpret in a different way in order to learn how different music can be in other cultures.
Wow. And Professor Mendívil, when you're talking about that, I just kept thinking, here in the United States, we have this enormous pop figure named Taylor Swift, and she is. I mean, you can't escape her. I mean, she's everywhere. She's really
Yeah.
a superstar, and just on the television now, she has this new video about her latest tour, and she says, I wonder if you all know the lyrics to this. And then she starts to sing, and it doesn't even sound like her voice, what you hear. And you have but you can imagine all of these probably young women listening to this are crying and thinking, oh, this has touched my heart. And I look at those young women who are dancing, and I just wonder, yeah, what moves them? How would they be moved to tears by this dance? How can we take part in that?
Yeah, it's a very interesting point. When we were there, we asked the dancers in order to know what is the motivation they have for this tradition. And we expected to receive some answer related to religion or cultural identity. Um, but the most of them told us, I dance because I like it. It was the answer. I like it. And we try again to get some information about cultural identity and I don't know, gender identity. I don't know, and they say no, no, no. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I think this is a very important part of the sociability. They are playing together, they are dancing together. You can see your community at the same time, and we are sharing a lot of cultural elements in these moments. And for this reason, I can imagine that for they are this is very important to be there because they feel um, part of a community. They feel that they belong to this community, and um, and this is so. Even though they don't reflect all the time about that, I think they are reproducing this tradition and are not reflecting what is the meaning of this tradition. And I would say this is our job as musicologists, and their job as dancer is to dance and to play music. Yeah.
So let's have another listen to the other video. I'm just going to play a minute from
Yes,
this.
it's interesting because you can see the incaicos in this video. Yeah. problem.
Wow.
So interesting to notice two things that, as I said, the dancers compete with each other, but the groups also compete with each other. You saw that they made some acrobatics, and this is because they are competing with the other group, with the chunchos or with the payas. Yeah.
Professor Mendívil, is it fair to say that all of the people at this festivity know each other, or do people come from different towns, or what is are they strangers? Are they all friends?
No, no, no. I would say that they know each other. We were there in Baños del Inca. Baños del Inca is a small district in Cajamarca with, I don't know, maybe 3,000 persons or so. It's a really small town, and many of I would say that the dancer, the musician, they know each other because they try to play in the same tradition, or they are reproducing the same, or they are sharing the same social space there, you know. Um, but there are some new elements. For example, the payas we saw in this video, they are a group of migrants from other region in Peru, and they are dancing now in Cajamarca. They come from Ancash, but they are dancing now in Cajamarca. Yeah.
Well, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. But it's fun for them. But for us, it was hard work to be 3 days continuously recording, making some interviews, making some film notices, and so it was a lot of job of a hard job for us. But they have had fun.
Professor Mendívil, last question. What do you want all of us to think about the next time we listen to music?
Um, I would say that we have to or I would say we should be more open-minded when we listen to other musical traditions, because sometimes things which are really strange for us, and many traditions which seems to be irrational or don't to have a sense, have a cultural sense for the people who are bearing this tradition, And for this reason, I think that what we do in the ethnomusicology is we try to show the musical diversity in order to allow persons to get in contact with other cultures, and in order to expand our understanding concerning what is music, what is not music. For example, many persons would say when the clarineros begin to play, they don't play music, they produce noise, because it's very loud and you cannot recognize the melodies and so forth. But for these people, this is music, and they dance to that music. And I would say this is very important for them, and this is a kind of I would say it's a kind of uh, mm, yeah, it's a contribution to understand different conceptions of music. Many persons, for example, here in Austria, where I live, have this idea of classical music is music in order to listen to, in order to contemplate the music, to consume this music in a very passive way. And if you compare this kind of musical consumption with the tradition in Cajamarca, they are completely different. But in both tradition, people have fun making music or listen to the music or dancing to the music.
Well, thank you, Professor Mendívil, for opening our horizons and bringing us to this very special music that I know we all appreciate a lot more now.
Thank you.
So let's see how we can stay in touch with Professor Mendívil. The best way is here on Facebook, facebook.com/julio.mendivil. And people can reach out to you here. Is that right, Professor Mendívil?
Of course.
Perfect. So feel free to reach out to Professor Mendívil if you have questions. Also, he's available at the University of Vienna page. You can see all of his contact info there. And also you can see even the classes he's teaching. And there we see it right there. It was the summer of 2023 field trip to Peru. I hope I get to go on the next one. So I'll put this in the chat room. So there it is. Feel free to reach out to Professor Mendívil. Again, thank you so very much to Professor
I thank you
Dr. Julio Mendívil.
for inviting me, and thank you for being there.
So let's take a look at what is coming up next week on Vienna Live. Here we have at simeonmoro.com, we have nonprofit management expert, Dr. Mark Smutney. What is respectful communication? Have you ever found yourself in the awkward situation of inadvertently offending someone with a well-intended compliment? We all grapple with the challenge of effective communication, a persistent frustration in our daily interactions. Whether in the corridors of academia or the hustle of the workplace, we tread lightly, yearning for that elusive connection with someone who truly gets us. But what if the source of these misunderstandings isn't solely our own doing or that of our conversational partners, but rather lies in the nuances of our word choices? Indeed, by employing a few simple strategies, we can reclaim agency over our daily exchanges and approach them with confidence, presenting our authentic selves. Enter, quote unquote, respect, a framework designed to revolutionize our interactions and foster meaningful connections. Join us on Vienna Live as we welcome esteemed nonprofit management expert Mark Smutney, who will guide us in utilizing respectful communications to enrich and transform our daily relationships. Again, that is next Wednesday. Mark Smutney, what is respectful communications? As always, all information about upcoming shows is available at www.simeonmoro.com. Once again, thank you so very much to Dr. Professor Julio Mendívil. Thank you very much to Victoria and Frederick Mulligan and Agnieszka and Benoit Rivole for their support of this show. Thanks also to my cousin Mike, a marketer from Layer App. If you're an architect or an engineer, they have a really cool tool you should check out. Thank you also to Mary Schlesinger for the lovely Viennese library you can see behind me. Most of all, thanks to you, our participants, who make it all worthwhile. From Vienna, Austria, New London, New Hampshire, goodbye, and see you next Wednesday.